Do. Hey, I'm back. I'm back. Oh my goodness. It just reminded me I haven't even finished all my work yet. So, anyways, I don't care. I think I can do it pretty quickly. I have to come up with an idea for tonight's paint class, and I think it's going to be not a architectural scene. I think it's going to be a backcountry water scene. You know, kind of like an Everglades painting. So, I just uploaded a short bus to the last book I read, and I was just farting around, and I was looking back in the past, and I was checking out this one story. I mean, it comes out as Christopher, St. Christopher's story, and I use him a lot. I use that story in references sometimes quite a lot. At least I think I keep running through my mind. Like, I know I talked about that, but I don't think anyone ever even reads it or even knows what it is. But perhaps what we'll do is we'll talk about it being part of this world thing, since we're on world right now. The world's one of the hardest ones to show people that this is how God changes people. Okay, and it fits right in long now. These stories that I've looked up that are fairy tales, and stuff like that. I only got 5 or 10 or 15 people that have read them or heard them. The code is in them. It's the same thing. It's still there. So it still is hiding this information, but it's the idea of the prince and the princess getting together, and the numbers, everything, all work out the same way. Now, some stories are just about 4, and I've mentioned the musicians, the traveling musicians. That's a story about 4. That's about trying to get everybody in line, and when they're going to the big city, it doesn't take away from the Bible stories. And in fact, it shows how they're all the same, because these are stories that have been brought down to us from thousands of years or hundreds of years ago that concealed the way, and honoring mother and father. It's just the way it is. They just show up. So I'm going to give a quick little synopsis. So we're not going to go over the whole thing, but this idea of the four this, my next door neighbors are so noisy. That the idea of Saint Christopher, what he was in the story when he was born, his idea is that he wanted to serve the strongest person on the earth. He is a strong person. He was a monster, just like Samson. He grew up in this. He was just huge, larger than life, and he had all this energy. And he's meant to be a hunter, or a fighter. He's wanted to fight great battles, and he wants to share himself with the strongest and the mightiest person on earth. And so right away he runs into a king, which is an outside source. This is the west part. This is the west outside. He meets a king. And surely he's the king of the land. So, he's the strongest one and such like that, But if he was to see him cower in any way, he was going to, oh, so much for the strength in this guy, So the king in the story would not let him see his cowering. But one day, some minstrel group came in and sang songs about loss and love and this and that, and brought the devil up. And when they brought the devil up, he made a sign, and he says, what was that? What was that? And he didn't want to answer. So he answered him anyways. He says, well, whenever I hear about the devil, I have this thing that I do to guard me against him. You're afraid of the devil, so this devil must be stronger than you, right? So, so what does he do? Is he then goes over and he finds this devil guy. All right. He's saying, well, he's easy to find. You just got to follow the mayhem. So there's this story of one day he's out with these guys, and what happens is he comes to this one particular point where in the road they were all going out to sack some nearby town, which is what the lower conscious does. Listen to this noise. This is what happens in Key West. From the moment we wake up until we go to bed at night, all these damn sounds. And we also have a Navy base. It's probably from the Navy base. Pretty noisy. Apparently fucks up the vibrations in this. That probably sound funny. Let's give it just a second. But what a mess. People that live up the Keys have to put up with it a lot worse. They're right there beside Boca Chica, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Can't get no rest there. So, anyways, he's out with the devil one day, and they just happen to, be going to this town to sack it along this pathway, and the devil takes this detour. Just all of a sudden takes this detour. His horse haunches up on it, or rears up, and takes off. And he comes about and said, "What the hell was that?" Next thing you know, he says, "Well, I saw this thing. I saw this cross in the road." What? You're afraid of a little cross, a little wooden cross like that? What is this? He says, "Well, this is like Jesus, and he tells him the Jesus story and everything. And he says, "Well, I guess this Jesus is much stronger than you are. I'm going to go and seek and find him." So here he is, after years and years and years of serving the devil, now it's just time to go out and see if he could find this Jesus, this little baby Jesus. Of course, that's the way they told the story. It was a little baby because it's about the Christ bearer. It's a baby child that comes to him. All right, so anyways, he's walking and going and going and going, moving and hemming and hawing, getting all the way there, and then he finally makes it to this little hut. This is the sixth chakra. He goes all this way. He gets right there, and this is like a little holding bin. And in all these stories, even in the musicians, they find this little place in the middle of the woods. They find this little hut, this little house, this little place where you can get some comfort. This is where it's a resting spot before you go over the next side, before you can cross this bridge. So this is Lot. He's the gatekeeper. And so out of that, what he's done is he wakes up, and there's this guy, this sage that's in there that's taking care of. He says, he goes, "What are you doing? What brings you all the way up this way?" And he says, "I want to work for the strongest man on earth, and I know that it's the baby Jesus that I want to work for." And he stands up great tall, and he holds a sword up over his head and everything, and the sage looks at him and says, "That's got to go." And he says, "What?" She says, "You don't need a sword. If you're going to serve the Lord, you don't serve. All right. This is this idea that, that's not the kind of way to serve our Lord. All right. Because God doesn't kill things." And that's what I keep trying to get across to all you guys. And these stories say the same thing. That what happens is that he says, "Well, what can I do? I want to serve the God. I want to serve Jesus real bad. I want to meet him, And he says, "Well, there's that river back there. You can take people across there. That's not you'll be serving the Lord like that, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be meeting him." So anyways, the whole point of the story is now this is he's resting in this place. This is that set. This represents now you. This is you're wanting to make it over to this other side, and it won't let you go because you're just physically too strong. You're just physically. So this is the south. This is the third part of this journey. And so what he has to be done is he has to be worn down to nothing. And so for another eons of time, he is ferrying people across the ways there. Remember, he's a giant. And he's ferrying these people across the ways to the promised land on the other side. And of course, he never gets to stop there. It's not his thing. He can't rest. So in this process, he's getting worn down, ever more. And then one day he just yelps out, because he's got this child one night, he says, "At least I'll get my rest tonight." He really looked forward to having his rest. He said, "Surely no one will come out on a night like this," because it was just wind was a blowing and howling and everything. Those are the changes of frequencies as you're going through the through this change in life. And of course that means it's setting up for his change. And he listens and he hears this little child's faint voice in the wilderness. And that's that idea of, listening for that voice in the wilderness. All right. Now this is a legend. Okay, and they make him into a saint, Christopher, a guy for travels. Really, what it gets down to it is that whenever he finally got out there, he started to slip, and he was scared. He was showing himself that he had broken down to nothing, and he was scared, and he just hollered out, "God has helped me, saved my life." And at that moment, he got his energy back and got the child across the waist and said, "You just about killed me." And then he got this smile across his face, and he realized, "Oh my God, it was you all the time." So this is that idea of changing your mind and taking what was you out of the picture altogether and coming down with nothing. You have to have nothing, burdens off your back. And he bared Christ on his shoulders, and that's where all of this happens. It's in the skull, Golgotha. Here comes another airplane. So, anyways, I just wanted to let you know that these stories are about making it to the other side. The guys that are the musicians have a great time. How do we get in the house? How do we get in the house? The robbers are in there. The robbers and the thieves are running around. They got food and some food. They're starving. Like, we need to get rid of them, and we need to take over that spot. And so they do. They take over this spot by all four of them joining together. And one's the mule. The first one is the mule, and then there's a dog, the hunter, that climbs up his back, and then there's the one-eyed cat that climbs up his back, and then there's a chicken or a rooster or something that lands on her head. And it's just beautiful. These stories are all saying the same thing, and I just want you to realize that just because they're not biblical, or they take on like a lesser thing, you know. They're not. They're loaded with the code, absolutely loaded with the code. Absolutely. Just as important as these other stories are. All right. So, anyways, that's showing the four. All right. He didn't want anything of him. He wanted him to become nothing. He wanted him to get down to nothing. He had to cut his hair off. These other guys, Jesus, everything. Come to me, like a sheep, it's about to be sheared, a sheep to slaughter, and stuff like that. Keep your mouth shut. You know. Symbolic writing and showing up all over the place. Cinderella, same thing. There's a four right there. That's pretty cool stuff because it's just really wonderful writing. And once you develop your ear for it, you'll hear it everywhere. And that's how it is that I can hear it. It's even in the Jack in the Box, Jack in the Beanstalk story. It's just amazing. Just amazing. So give some of those stories a little bit of your ear. Understand that, that what we're doing is unveiling, some truths about our world, and that the people that run our world are only running off of scraps and things that they're found or left behind, from the previous people before that took this same trip with us. Or, maybe we did it, we did this all before. And it just repeats itself some way over and over again, So I love you guys. Take care.